Hi, this is Megan Jacks, Creative Memories Independent Advisor, and I'm here today with a video to show you how I mark my jumbo circle template from the Creative Memories custom cutting system. I have found that marking the different points for the angles makes it really easy for me to find those angles and translate them over to my paper once I cut it. As I'm sure many of you have figured out, when you cut a larger circle with the blue or the green template, or the blue or the green blade on the outer ring, you lose your ability to find these 30-degree marks because the lines on the mat don't extend all the way to the edge. So one thing I did find was marking my template for where those 30-degree angles helps a lot. And I'd already done that on my 0, 90, and 180 degrees so that I could center my template on the paper. But I went ahead and I've extended that and I've marked my other angles so I can use those as reference points. So I've got a brand new template here and I'm going to show you how to mark them and how to find them. So the key here is there are these manufacturing dots that are in your, on the jumbo circle. And they're going to be kind of hard to see in the video because I'm not sure if I can get the light angle just right, but there maybe you can kind of see it. If you take a close look, you will notice them and you'll see them frequently around. They're actually every 15 degrees all the way around your circle. So we're going to use that, capitalize on the fact that they are every 15 degrees, and we're going to mark the key ones that we will use in various projects. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove my white paper so we can see the angles of the cutting mat, because I am going to use those angles on the cutting mat to help me put the marks on my template. The key here is I've got some Sharpies, and I've got thin tip Sharpies. Wide tip Sharpies don't work because I'm actually going to be using the Sharpie in the groove, in the track, to mark those spots. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to use brown. I had hoped to use black, but my black one is all dried up. So I have just a dark colored Sharpie here, and I'm going to mark every 90 degrees. That's going to be the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find, I have to reference where my first set of the dots are. So here's one. I found it. And this first one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put my thin tip Sharpie in there, and it barely goes in there, but I've got it marked. So you can kind of see, got a dot in there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to do both. So there's two sets. There's one in the inner track and one in the outer track. So there, I've got it marked. Now I'm going to line that up here. And I'm going to use that to help me determine, so here's my 90 degrees. I'm going to come over here to what would be 0 degrees on the mat. And I'm going to find, I see it right here, is my next dot. So I'm going to come up here and mark that. So I am using the brown Sharpie to mark 0 or the 90-degree increments on my cutting mat or my cutting template. So you can see I've got the two marks, one at 0, one at 90. And then I can just proceed to go find the other two that are the 90-degree increments. So I've lined it up over here at the 0, and I'm going to come up here to 90, and there's my circle. And sometimes I lose that circle in the light. I'm going to do it one more time. And there's my final one. So like I said, this first one's at 90-degree increments. These are the ones that I would use when I mention in my videos that I want you to center your template. I use the 90-degree marks because I can go in and I can line up. Here it's 6 inches, top and bottom, and 6 inches on the side. So this right here would roughly be centered on my paper. So the next increment that we're going to do is going to be our 45-degree marks. So 45 degrees is going to be halfway between our 90-degree marks. And I'm going to go ahead and use red because red, it just makes me think of a common color, and those are my next common ones that I use are going to be the 45-degree angles. So I'm going to, I can actually see it right here. They correspond to the corners. So if you're doing this, look for the ones that correspond to the corner. If you need to, go ahead and pull away a sheet, and I can see it right there lining up with my 45-degree line. So I'm going to pick it up, keep my thumb right there so I can find it, and I'm going to mark it. I'm going to place it back down, and I'm going to find my next one. Should be right here. And yep, there it is. And I'm marking the red. Place it back down. I have my browns lining up with my 0 and 90. I'm going to come back over here to this bottom 45-degree angle, and my template, it's right there. So like, once again, these are the 45-degree angles. The 45-degree angles are typically going to be the ones you will use for the Border Maker cartridges. You'll use the 45-degree angles. I've also found that the frame punches work well, the circle punches will use the 45-degree angles as well. The frame punches really depends on the frame. So there, I've got my final corner. So now I've got 90-degree marks in brown. They're hard to tell. The brown is actually not as quite as contrasty as I would like compared to the red. I will probably get a new black Sharpie marker and then come in and redo those browns, cover them up and make them black. But it's easy to find the reds. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do every 30 degrees. Every 30 degrees actually equates out to the marks of a clock. So every 30 degrees, it will actually be not quite halfway between the 0 and the 45 degrees. So this one I'm definitely going to pull away, and I'm going to use the cutting mat to guide me, because I definitely need to make sure that I'm grabbing the right ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace out here, and I can see there's my first one. So I've got my Sharpie. I'm going to put my thumb right next to it, bring it up, and I'm going to mark it. My blue marker is not a super dark blue, but it should be enough. I'm going to lay it back down, line it back up. I'm back at 0, 45, and there should be my next, should be my 60 degrees. The 60-degree marks in the jumbo circle are the ones that you're going to use for typically the standalone border punches. Something like Dazzle is going to use the every 30 degrees. So I should have one right here. There it is. And there should be another one over here. And you will find, I will get to it. Sorry, this is taking just a little bit longer to show. You may need to speed through this part because I'm just going to keep going all the way around. Finding all my 30 degrees. I'm using my cutting mat as my guide. And then I have 2 more to do. So line up at I'm here at 90 and 270, come over here. And one last one over here. Now, I do have a green Sharpie available, and what I can do is, here, let me show you real quick. So I've got the basics done, and it's going to be a little bit hard to see my blue Sharpie on here, especially on the camera, but I promise you it's there. If I'm using this in person, I can definitely see it. So I've got my black, or my brown at my 90 degrees. I've got reds at 45s, and I've got blues every 30 degrees all the way around. So the blues, I actually have to remember that when I'm doing my blues, I actually am going to be using the browns as well, because it goes 0, 30, 60, 90, and keeps going every 30 degrees. So when I say that I'm going to be marking my templates or my papers to do 30-degree increments, I have to remember that I do have to use a combination of the brown marks and the blue marks. So the next thing I would do is, if I wanted to, I could come in and I could mark every 15 degrees, or the other dots that are not marked. There will be one on each side of your brown marks. There will be an unmarked dot. You can mark those with green. When you have those marked, then every single dot is 15 degrees. So that works really nice if you're wanting to do something that you need to cut a lot of wedges, or maybe you want to cut you cut inside outside tracks. You have a ring and you want to cut just sections of that ring off. I've done it with a sun to make the rays. So I would cut the inside circle, and that would be my sun. And then I would cut an outside circle. I would mark the 15-degree increments, just cut it with a pair of scissors all the way around. And now I have nice, even 15-degree segments that I can separate out from my sun and make rays. So now what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you how I would suggest using this. So I've got my paper. I'm centering it back on my mat, and then I'm going to center my template on the mat, lining up my 6-inch marks with my brown 90-degree increments. And for this particular one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my blue blade. Because I want to show you how you can't see the degree marks on the mat anymore. So I'm using my blue blade. I'm going to go all the way around. And the key here is to pull away this outside edge, and as best you can, leave the ring, your template, on your circle. Now is when I'm going to grab my pencil, and if I wanted to mark every 45 degrees, I'm going to leave my template in place, and I'm going to go ahead, or actually, yes, we're going to do every 45 degrees. So all I'm going to do is, I know my 45-degree marks are at my brown and my reds, and I can see those. I can actually see on my mat where they are. But now imagine that I needed to do my 30-degree marks. I can't see them. They're hidden behind the paper. But I've got my blue marks here in place. So I can use my brown, and my blue marks will tell me where to go ahead and draw my pencil lines. So if I needed to draw my 30-degree increments, I have my 0. Then here at 30, 60, I've already done 90. I would come here to 120 and keep going all the way around. And so it's it's quick, it's easy. It's going to give you those marks that you need, and you don't have to worry about lifting the mat and whatnot. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's hard to see in the video, but take a peek at your template. You will see these marks on there. I've talked about them before, but if you kind of take a systematic approach to marking them and just kind of mentally know where they are, maybe give yourself some notes for reminders until you get used to it. But having them there makes it a lot easier. It's easier than using a Sharpie on your cutting mat to extend those 30-degree marks. So I hope you have a chance to give it a try, and let me know if you do. If you have questions, please send me a message and ask away. I'm more than happy to help. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, share with your customers, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.